So, welcome everyone. This is the Wednesday, December 5 meeting of the Police Station Building Committee. We are meeting, my first order of business is to see if anybody's taping. Other than Lake Cam, nobody's indicating that they're recording the meeting. So our first order of business is to approve our meeting minutes for November 7, 2018. Those minutes have been distributed to the group. Did everybody have a chance to take a look at those? Anybody have any questions or suggested changes to the document?
Right. Make a motion to accept November 7th, 2018 meeting minutes as written.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. The motion carries, it's unanimous. Before we do our construction update, I want to talk about the payment submissions. Take them out of order because Rita needs to leave early and we want to get these to her for purposes of, for ease of the logistics tonight. So I have been talking and signing, which is a presumptive, I should say, recommendation that we approve these. But let me,
I could read them off for you,
yeah,
Aaron.
could you? Because I can't read them.
Yeah. So we have 7 invoices tonight. The first one is for AP Whitaker, the general contractor, for $389,911.69. Then Jakunski Humes for $7,000. Commissioning agent WSP for $1,000. Signet for security, $15,000. Utility company back charges, which is MG&E and Verizon, both their install numbers for $25,057.46. And material testing from Tibbetts or SW Cole for $1,810.72.
All right. Does anybody have any questions about any of this information?
I
Rita?
just wanted to mention, Verizon came in only, we had budgeted $50,000 for the utilities.
Yeah, we're low right
And
now.
Middleborough G&E,
Yeah.
so I think there'll be savings.
There definitely will be. There'll be probably some money coming. It might be a little bit more in terms of filling up the propane, things like
Yeah.
that. But no, we're gonna be low in that line.
So you might do the cupolas after all.
So we're not
That's a
paying
full
retail for the cupolas, all right?
That's me and
If
Aaron.
they're done, Nate and I are gonna do them on a weekend.
Yeah, that's it.
Just
Make a motion to approve the invoices as Taylor just read.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Rita, every time I say Nate and I are gonna do it, that's clearly a joke too. No way in hell we're climbing up on that roof and
What I just
doing anything to it. The police would probably arrest us if they found us up there.
Tom reminded me I gave away all my ladders. I'm a desk jockey now.
So while Rita's still here and we're kind of talking about money and signing things, I have change order 4 we approved this last month, but we just never signed it. So there was 2 items on this. One was the countertop revision, and one was the deduct for the wire mesh credit. So the total of that is just it's an add of $284.54. So it's a very small change order, but we just wanted to process this as well. So if the committee could vote on that, we could move forward.
So we've actually voted on the approval of those already, so
So it just needs to
we
be
just need to
signed.
sign them.
Okay.
Yeah. I think.
You want me to get into
Yeah,
my
that's
change
my
order?
recollection too.
Yeah. So does that need to be signed by?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I'll follow along with change orders.
There's 4 copies here.
I handed out a summary sheet. It's on my letterhead, and I'll be handing these out periodically through the project just to give you an update and a summary on where we stand. What we track AP Whitaker's contract, and we're also tracking Signet's contract just because we participated in that bid. So the contract summary that you see at the top of my sheet is the contract summary with AP Whitaker. That's the construction contract amount. we've had change order activity to date through change order 4, and I've given you a change order summary of change orders 1 through 4, just so you can remember what they were, recall. And Taylor just mentioned change order 4, which is being signed. When you sign the change orders, you're not paying anything yet. You always pay through the requisition. So we're just, when you authorize a change order, you're just authorizing the contractor to perform that work for that amount of money. When they perform the task, that's when you'll get invoiced for it. So we have a potential change order 5, which is for tonight's consideration. And it involves 2 items. One is PCO 16 and the other is PCO 17. PCO 16 is to add a chipboard ceiling at the outbuilding. This we had talked about at the last meeting. You had given an authorization of not to exceed $12,000 to get that done. And we received PCO 16, and it was in the amount of $14,000 or something. And AP Whitaker has said that they will honor the $12,000 not to exceed that was approved. So they've started with some hat channels, and they're ready to proceed with the drywall. And we just need to process that $12,000 into change order 5. So I don't recall if you voted on that or gave us an authorization to go ahead.
I believe the committee voted and approved that.
Not to exceed.
Yeah,
Not to exceed 12.
not to exceed the 12, yeah.
Yes.
All right, so you voted on that one. PCO 17 is we've coordinated underground conduit locations to the gate operator, and this is changes electrical revisions, primarily because of some added components to the interview room. The police department reviewed the electrical and data and telephone, and they wanted to add another data and power to the interview room within prisoner processing. Those were within masonry walls. And so that work has been completed, as well as coordinating the conduit runs out to the gate operators. So we are recommending approval of PCO 17 for $3,322.67.
So moved.
Second.
Anybody have any questions regarding that change? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
You keep moving down the sheet, Signet proposals. Signet has sent out 2 proposals so far for requests that have come in through the town. One of them was to add 2 cameras to the outbuilding and add the fiber line that goes from the main building to the outbuilding to make those cameras work. That price was $7,224, and I believe that the committee's already taken action on that proposal. It was done early. I just bring it up for information, because the second one is also related, and the second one has come into play because of the potential for the impound lot behind the outbuilding. So the 2 cameras that were added originally was a camera inside the outbuilding to look at the storage area, and then outside in the canopy, carport canopy area, to look at the fleet vehicles. The next one would be on the back side of the outbuilding to look at an impound lot. And it's a multi-sensor camera, so it's going to have a 270-degree view, so you can have a full view of your impound lot if the impound lot goes in the back. So that's $5,272, furnish and install the exterior multi-sensor camera on the back of the outbuilding. And the committee has not taken any action on that.
Is the light for the rear of the building in here someplace?
The light, we still need to talk about. We just
That's
received
not in that
Not
number,
in there.
no.
We just received that today, but we want to talk about that tonight.
So yeah, my recollection is the first one, the 7,224 for the interior cameras was approved.
Right.
And so this one would be for the 1 added camera exterior of the outbuilding.
I think regardless if you have the impound lot, kind of good to have a camera on the back side of that building. Anybody that, to access that.
Chief, speaking, have you spoke with Signet on, can you manipulate these cameras? I know it has the full view, but can you focus on?
You do that
Okay,
digitally.
all
Yes,
right.
you
You have the
can.
ability to do that in case you do,
Exactly.
someone at the desk does see something going, okay.
Yeah, they're digital zoom.
And you can set them up as motion detector type cameras
Okay,
too,
great.
so they'll alert you if it picks something up.
So, say if it picks something up, is it saved, are those?
Yeah, we didn't talk about the retention.
30 days.
30, all right.
It all has to do with the amount of recording. They're set on motion. We're
Yeah.
assuming 50% on, 50% off. And we're also factoring 5 frames per second. So there's a frame rate that you're adjusting the recording to. And at a certain motion and frame rate, they're supplying 30 days worth of storage.
What would be the increase in getting something that can store it a little longer?
It's actually very small. It would probably be under $5,000, you can get another 30 days, because all you're buying is terabytes at this point. It's just buying storage.
We had to look into
Yeah.
that, because 30 days sometimes.
You can do a lot of
Is that just
things,
that
though.
cameras or all the cameras?
All the cameras,
Total system.
every
But
camera.
yeah, that's something you can add after the fact very
Yes.
easily and
plug it in.
upgrade as much as you
Or
want.
maybe you
Yeah.
can do it later then.
And the other thing you can do, once you get the whole system set up, once you find out how much you're recording, then you can either add storage or you adjust your frame rate,
Right.
and then you grab more storage.
Yeah, you can lower your frame rate in areas that, don't get any action at all, and, so you're not getting heavy.
That with court now with,
Yeah.
some issues because it's already gone by the time.
Yeah.
They get a request, they have to put the request in soon.
Sometimes
for
you're
us to
6
find out.
months, you're 6 months out on court dates.
Yeah.
So it has the capability of
Okay.
Just
As long as
plugging
we
in
have
more
the ability
storage.
to do that. If we don't do it now, we could do it later either. But maybe just get a price from Signet anyway. I would,
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't buy gigabytes in this, you buy terabytes.
Yeah.
It's just how many,
it's in the DVR,
Yes.
like, okay,
Yeah, you buy in memory.
okay, yeah. That's something important, I think.
so we recommend, because of the request from the town, to add the multi-sensor camera at the outbuilding at $5,272.
Okay, does anybody have any other questions about that? If not, I move that we approve the addition of one exterior multi-sensor camera at the outbuilding for $5,272. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
If we could then flip the page, because on the back, I want to try to give you a heads up on anything that we're talking about, a heads up on anything that may be pricing related. So I have pending change requests, and then I have for owner's consideration. The pending change requests, and I think some of these are familiar to you, I just keep them on the list until we resolve it. We talked about going under the road at the park entrance to get to the fiber pull box, which is on the other side of the entry drive, that we need to connect back to the PD. So right now that they're looking to, they had a price to cut the road, but you've asked for a price to go under the road. So they're working on something a price on how that would be done by going under the road. The locker room floor tiles, we found that there's a discontinued tile and base. So we're working with the contractor now to find a substitute. And that affects the locker rooms for both male and female. There is, on the Sallyport roof, we have an antenna mount, and we've clarified some of the construction on how those antenna mounts may be constructed. So they're working out details. It may not have any price impact, but it's on our list until it's resolved. And then the impound lot behind the outbuilding. We just received some pricing today on that impound lot. And the impound lot pricing came in around $43,000. the price sounds high, but let me break it down. There was site work and grading, and then there was a stone base throughout the whole area. Do you have the breakdown? Do you have a printout on that?
I did, yeah.
I'm thinking that was around 12 or 18 or, let's see what it says. So if I look at all the components to this,
First page is a breakout.
the subcontractor on this, Ramco was the site contractor at 13.8. So that was preparing the area and providing us a gravel base at 13,008. The next was the privacy fencing, which had gates and a pass gate and posts set in concrete. That was 18,861. There was a surveyor of $500 to stake it out. And then there was pricing from the electrical contractor to provide lights on the back of the outbuilding and make provisions for the camera at the back of the outbuilding and running power and then providing 2 lights. And that was $4,186.87. We discussed this at the job meeting today, and there are some things that, if you're thinking about going ahead and doing this, there's some things that have to be done, and then there's some things that can be put off. The items that should be done now to obtain these pricing is the work by the electrical contractor to put the lights in, because they're gonna start to put the ceilings in for drywall, and then they're gonna put insulation in the attic. And it's gonna be just more difficult to get the infrastructure out to these light locations. So the fencing and the site grading probably would not be done until springtime anyway at this point. So you have some time to wait on those items. So we're proposing that you authorize it not to exceed $5,000 for the electrical work. Now, it was only at $41.86. Well, then there's some overhead and there's some markup. And also, because of the cameras that you just authorized, the electrical contractor has some back boxes to put in for those cameras. So the $5,000 would be the back boxes for the cameras that were just approved, and the lights in the back, and provisions for the camera in the back. And it's a not to exceed, so once the pricing comes in, we'll adjust it accordingly. But if you want to consider just that piece of it for tonight, then we can get another proposal and resubmit, and you probably have to go through the select board and get approval on whether they want to do the rest of the entire impound lot with fences and gravel and gates.
Kind of to echo what the chief brought up, is that the back of that building really is in the dark.
It's a blind spot.
Yeah, it's blind spot. So to have some camera coverage out there, have some lighting available, just to me makes lots of sense.
Right.
Agree.
No, I agree. I think, I'm all for the idea, because if we don't have a spot to put impounded vehicles or store large evidence, it's just gonna, it's a potential issue that we're gonna need to deal with at some point. We may as well address it now by moving forward with it. And I think, I don't wanna say that if we authorize $5,000 for a piece of it, that'll persuade the selectmen to go forward with the rest of it. I know that John watches these tapes, and I will use that as a technique to try to move the whole thing forward. But he won't buy that. But I think the bigger argument for it is what I just said. We need that usage, or that we have a need for that within the community for policing purposes. So we may as well deal with it now. So with that said, I'm in favor of your approach. So I move that we provide $5,000, not to exceed $5,000 for the electrical
Infrastructure.
And lighting.
and lighting for behind the outbuilding.
I second that.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
And then the last column that I've added is for owner's consideration. We do have some other things that are gonna impact the project as far as cost. And I've just had the Mass DOT curb cut at Bedford Street on the list. We know what that's about. We've been asked to design the road sign and to make an electronic sign for Bedford Street. We're gonna draw something up and show you what it looks like. We'll have to get pricing, but there's that which is gonna be ahead of us. On the front elevation of the building, we did have on one of the gable ends, we had a patch, the police patch on the exterior elevation. And that patch is, on the drawings, is by owner. We find it's a lot easier to go local and have somebody locally make that a sign company and then provide it to the contractor and put it in place. So we're working through who that may be and work on getting that completed. Parking at the ball fields, that's just a drainage condition that we may or may not be involved with.
Nate, what's the latest with that?
So the deep holes were dug.
Frozen yet?
No, Lions Club, we're gonna use it for the skating rink. For rent.
Yes.
So they've begun the analysis. Jamie spoke with Scott Holmes last week. He says he's gonna have something by next week.
Okay.
So I'll plan to go out to bid to see what it's gonna cost to install the drainage.
Yep. Yeah, so the idea with that is that we talked about it at a previous meeting, the idea that, in my mind, it's to a certain degree but for causation. But for this building, there's now flooding. Because the drainage, the water that's collecting there used to drain down to where the police station's being built. And also, the previous highway superintendent put down this crushed
Reclaimed asphalt.
asphalt that is not helping. So, Rich at the last meeting said he thought that the town should pay for it. Well, this is all the town, as far as I'm concerned. I don't see the point in fighting one department over another or one budget over another. If we have the resources in this budget, I think, my opinion is that the money should come from this budget to deal with it. And again, if we didn't build a police station there, this wouldn't be an issue. So I'm not asking anybody to make a decision about that tonight, but I want everybody to think about that because I'd like to have that conversation when we do talk about this, because if we do have a number at our next meeting, I'd like to take a vote on that and move that forward. Because I don't want that drainage to be an issue next year for, in the spring for, I'd like to get that dealt with as soon as we can.
I agree.
And then the last item is site irrigation system for the lawn areas. And if there's ever an issue that comes up, I just put it on my list, and once it gets resolved, it comes off the list. But it's up to you as a committee to determine what direction you want to go with this. As far as the site irrigation goes, now we have conduit under roadways. So we have pathways,
Okay.
but there's no system, there's no plan in place for a system, there's nothing that we're actively doing on this right now, other than there's some infrastructure under the roadways that.
Yeah. Well,
Could
keep in
accommodate.
mind, we've been clear that we definitely want irrigation. So whatever we need to do to facilitate that process, we should do that, get a plan in place.
The conversation today is, we have a couple directions to go, and I don't know which direction might be the best, but one was, originally, there was talk of coming from the park and utilizing irrigation from the park and bringing it over onto the police department property. Another option is we have water service coming onto the property now. We could, water services through Taunton Water, we could utilize that water. A third solution is we could drill a well on the site, and then you have water supply. Doesn't have to be potable water, but drilling a well means you are not paying for water, you're just paying for the well, and now you have a water supply.
Would that require a modification of the turtle people? I don't know what you even call it. The restriction that's on there relative
Natural
to-
resources,
Yeah.
yeah.
Natural heritage.
I don't know. We'd have to.
I'll-
Didn't we do
I'll look into
offsite
it.
mitigation?
Don't,
Yeah.
don't, because then they're just gonna, yeah, like you have nothing to do, but then they're gonna go, oh, you're trying to do something else.
Oh,
Well,
I was being completely
let me get
facetious.
you
I wasn't
under
gonna
our
look
thumb.
into it.
Hold you there.
I was just gonna tell you, no, I don't
It'll be
think.
another parking lot meeting. It's
I'm
not
pretty sure
recorded,
that
not
won't
posted,
have, that won't have any effect.
Shakedown Street.
Can I just say something, Aaron?
Yes,
If it's a well water, you know, the building will end up orange like Siddell's.
right.
The cost to.
Kill the lawn.
Taunton water, for the historic library, just to give you a sense, is roughly
It was close to 5,000.
1,500 a year.
I was close to 5,000 at the
Library.
at the library, yeah.
Right, so I would say it'd be about the same amount.
For irrigation,
Yeah,
For irrigation, so it would be
that
an
was about a
expense.
year for the Taunton water.
$5,000 a year?
For
That's
the
what it was.
We're
library.
gonna have to cut that, that's expensive.
Yeah,
I didn't
we
realize
tied
it
them
was,
in.
we were
That's why
paying
we-
5,000, I'm kidding.
Yeah, right.
No, it is
Tied-
expensive,
we
but,
tied them into
you
the
know.
park.
We tied that into the parks, that was the
No,
whole
no, yeah.
process.
Yeah.
But- And to tie anything else into the park, would it be
Right.
stretching it,
Yeah.
Nate?
It may be, but I think I would suggest approaching irrigation contractor, assuming that we're gonna tie into municipal water, so we get the flow calcs, and just get a baseline price for irrigation for lumen seed. So that'll give us a baseline, so then if we go forward and end up doing landscaping, where we have new soca lines and add on to that,
Yep.
that'll be future, because it's tough to design irrigation if we don't have a landscaping design yet. But if we do a baseline, at least we'll know kind of where we're gonna be when we go to do the
Yeah, we can
irrigation.
reach out and baseline, loam and seed,
Yeah.
municipal water. What, you
Yeah,
know.
that's a great point about the well. I think we should steer clear of the well because of that reason.
Well, you know, my neighbor and I have irrigation, different contractors. My house is pretty clean, his is not.
Yep.
And I think a lot of it has to do with how you lay it out, that you don't get the spray onto the building.
Oh, sure,
I do
yeah,
have a
yeah.
filter, and he doesn't, but that's just taking some of the stuff out. So I wouldn't necessarily at this point say that's off the table completely.
Yeah.
But you have a filtering system, that you add salt to your,
No, I'm just running it right out of the well. Goes through a grit filter that gets some of the rust and stuff out of it. But again, mine doesn't hit the house. His sprays every place. And I think
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah, that's
irrigation
the
contractor that did that.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, the well,
Okay.
the well's an initial expense, but it probably will pay for itself over a short amount of time if you're, versus taking it from city water. If it's $5,000 a year, the well will pay for itself in probably two to 3 years.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that something we have to make a decision on to get power to it and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, if it's gonna be a well, yes.
Don't we have conduit out there though?
We have conduit. If it's a well, I would propose that all the equipment be in the outbuilding and the well be out near the outbuilding, so we would have a location for equipment and then bring power to that location within the outbuilding and then run it from the outbuilding. It doesn't even have to be in the main building for controls. So
Okay.
depending on what approach you take, it depends on where the equipment might go.
So the only thing that could be proactively done today would be to pull another electric line out, or would it
We
come
have
off the
power.
box?
Yeah, we have
So
And
there's no-
power, and
done,
it's not gonna be
right?
a paved area.
No,
So,
we have plenty of spare circuits in the outbuilding.
Okay.
All right, so what steps do we need to take then to determine whether we want to use a well or municipal?
I think we can decide that down the line. I think right now it'd be just get a baseline cost, and then.
We can
you know,
get- even get
The
some
cost is
baseline.
probably pretty similar either way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
From the irrigation perspective, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking that it might be a well. We might be able to talk to the parks. The last couple of years, the pond levels have dropped dramatically, so it's possible that we feed off of the parks and then put the well in anyway for both police and parks for a backup if the pond goes down, something like that. I mean, we just have to think about what the best course of action would be, but I'll start looking into that.
Okay,
We should be able to get pricing on, a well too.
Yeah.
So, irrigation company, they do those too, or, they have subcontractors for that. So if I can get some pricing on both options, I will.
Yeah, I know the
Okay.
materials over there lend themselves to the possibility of even a shallow well. I know the Parks had put in a point over here and got a real high yield, and you have less iron, sometimes you run into a lot less iron.
Yeah.
And where it's not potable, it's not a concern.
No, at this point.
No, yeah, at this point, at this point, rot stainless steel.
So if you look at the list, I think you can see from change order activity to date and from things that are on the table, there's really not a lot here that's building related. The 71,000 that you've expended to date through change order 4, the vast majority of that 71,000 was the motor operator for the gates and the propane tanks.
And Brian, it bears mentioning too, and you mentioned it today at our construction meeting, just about everything we're putting back in now was stuff we took out to make sure that because this isn't just frivolous, we're gonna add stuff, and I think it just bears noting that, mainly for the folks watching, is that this is stuff that we took out to make sure that we came in under
That
budget.
outbuilding was bare bones.
Yep.
Everything we're putting back at the outbuilding, like the ceiling,
Mhm.
those are things we had in the project and we had taken them out.
Exactly, yeah.
We had talked about putting some heat detectors out into the outbuilding and get a price on putting some fire alarm devices out into the outbuilding. We had those in the original drawing. We took them out. Now we're gonna get a price to put them back in again. So things like that, I think we'll bring pricing to you. If it makes sense to you, then you could just put a couple of heat detectors out there for your protection.
Okay.
But you're right, we're out of the ground. That's the other big point. They've had a lot of underground utilities go in and a lot of building come out of the ground.
Right.
But the binder coat's down now and everything that's underground is there. The propane tanks are actually filled
Yeah.
and they're there.
They're going to use those propane tanks to heat. And, just driving by from the outside, it looks like it's just plywood on the walls, but it's actually insulated Hunter panels. So if you think about it, the exterior of that building is already insulated. So they get the roof on, they get a layer of sheetrock in there, they can insulate that. In a month, they should have the heat on in there and it's going to be hot. It's going to be insulated very well. So they're setting themselves up for a good winter.
So it's going well. It's going very well.
One question on the electronic sign. That's just when it's going to be lit up. It's not indirect lighting on a wooden sign.
It'll be lit up internally.
How do you feel on that, Chief?
Yeah, I like the idea when we had talked about it before, just for the, having messages on that.
Oh, I see.
Stuff
Okay.
That we could, Amber Alerts,
It's
things
something-
like that.
okay,
You
good,
could put
good.
that out there.
All right. I know some departments have that indirect.
No, this is actually going to have an illuminated message board.
Beautiful. Oh, that's great.
So will that be a banner on the bottom? It'll be a lit sign and then there'll be a banner for your
Yeah.
Amber
On the top,
Alerts.
it'll just have permanent lettering to identify the police department.
Yeah,
And then the changeable sign would be below it.
Oh, that's great.
it'll be good.
Good.
And it's a two-sided sign too, so its messages go in both directions on Bedford.
Oh, I like that. Oh, good.
Once I draw it, you'll see it.
All right, so moving on. So my usual log, Brian, sometimes I let him steal my thunder, but so we just went over everything on Brian's list that's on this list, so we don't necessarily need to go through that. Mine just says it in detail, and all of our numbers match. We see eye to eye on everything there. I did provide an updated budget. It's in that packet. If you don't have it or need a copy, I made copies too. So that would be this sheet here in the packet of 100 pages. The only change was that change order that we talked about, the additional $284 and I think 54 cents. So that has a small effect to our contingency, and so we're still in very good shape contingency-wise. So if you look at those changes we talked about tonight and approved, you could do some math in your head and subtract those out, and it'll give you a better idea of where we stand. But we're still right around 1.4 million in our contingency. So we have the ability to put back those things that we took out initially. So overall, budget-wise, we're very healthy. Covered a lot since we went backwards. Schedule, Bob, do you want to go over what they've been working on?
Since our last meeting, the nation's probably 90% done with the CMU for the cell area. Griffin Electric work is ongoing. Ramco, the site contractor, they're 100% done with the catch basins, drainage, and roof draining piping. Brunswick Building Systems finished installing the exterior metal studs to the main building. Now are 85% complete installing the insulated Hunter panels. The frame contractor have installed all the wood trusses and roof plywood at the building, at the main building. The roofers are on site. They are installing the shingle, asphalt shingles to the main roof itself, and from what I understand, they're gonna start working on Saturdays too, so. The paving contractor, as we discussed, the asphalt binder coat is in. That's a big plus right there. Next few weeks, again, continue on with the roof shingles, and hopefully within 2 weeks, they should be done with that. Exterior siding and trim will be installed in the outbuilding. That'll probably take about a week and a half to 2 weeks. And then lastly, Paul Lacey, the site super, and myself met with General Dynamics along with Comcast to review the communication room and also to address any site issues, but there were no site issues, so.
And that's for installing E911.
E911.
General Dynamics handles all that now.
That's all I have.
So overall, we spoke with Norm today, like we do it at all meetings, and he feels he's back on schedule. Last time we talked, he thought maybe a week off, and he thinks he's picked up some time. They have worked some weekends. He's brought on his own employees, carpenters, to help bolster the carpentry crew, to give them a little more help. So he's doing his part to get back, and he feels he's right in line again. And like we said, once he gets that roof on, you're wide open in the middle. You're dry to the weather, and you can go. So that's their critical path right now.
Once they get the roof on, they'll start putting on the exterior windows too, to get it buttoned up, so.
Yeah, windows are on site.
Yep.
So everything's ready to go there. Any questions on schedule or update? We're happy with what we're seeing in terms of the quality in the install and construction right now. I think everything looks good out there. The binder looks great. We did all the testing we had to on the sub base, before it went down, and then during the construction process, we had SW Cold Air testing the asphalt well went down. I know there was some concerns about putting it down in that weather. We did all the testing and proper planning for it, that we had a great result with the binder that went down there. There was no issues. So we'll watch that obviously over the winter, and if there's anything that does pop up, we have enough time before the final coat goes on before we see any issues, and we could prepare it at that time, but we don't expect any. Questions? No? And the last thing, just a couple owner-vendor updates. We did get our order in with WB Mason. And so we avoided a contract increase that was happening in the industry. And then the chief and I met with WB Mason again to go over the high-density storage. We selected colors, upgraded a few things. It did increase our cost a little bit, but still well below our budget line for furniture. So we got that order put in, and next, with that little bit of money we have left in our furniture line, we're going to look at adding some storage into the outbuilding. Technically, there's no racks or anything going out there, so something to help tidy it up out there is probably a good idea. So
We discussed the evidence room when you were here, right?
yes,
We're gonna need some sort of shelving.
heavy-duty shelving in evidence. Yes, that'll be part of that. And then we are still working on putting out the radio bid. I spoke with Chick this week, wanted to make sure he had all the components, DPW, fire, as well as, police obviously in there. So he's working on getting that buttoned up, and we'll get that out on the street and get some pricing back probably after the new year.
Great.
Sounds great.
Sounds
We're
good.
happy with how everything's going right now, so. Any questions?
Nope.
That was all we had.
All right. So we're scheduling our next meeting for January 9th. Does that work for everybody?
Yep.
Is there any other business anybody wants to bring up? I think it does look great over there. I think it's been a lot of activity since the last time we met. I mean, at least in terms of, to the layman's eye. I mean, it's like we were complaining about when are they gonna get this
Yeah,
stuff going, and then,
I hate to use the weather as any sort of excuse, but they were just getting hit with rain day after
Sure.
rain day after rain, and they couldn't pick up any steam. So
Yep.
as soon as they've gotten any gaps, like I said, if it rained on a Thursday but didn't rain Friday and Saturday, they worked Saturday. to pick
Yeah,
up
and I noticed
day.
that too.
Yeah,
Over
so-
the past month, they had crews there, and there were more bodies too, so.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess that's it, unless anybody else has anything other than a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.